What's up, everybody? This is Richard Newton, running back for the University of Washington, and you're listening to the FLOGcast Network.
Hello. I think we're live and we're back. It's been a couple weeks, but this is the FLOGcast Network. Yes, no J Ruff in the house today, but it is a Thursday, and I am joined by Mr. TC. How we doing, TC?
What's up, Mr. Blunt? It's Thursday, 7 a.m. where I'm at. I got
Mm-hmm.
up bright and early. The sun is just coming out. It's like before the sunrise light. It's not really that light. Yeah, I'm here to talk football. Week 9,
Week 9,
folks.
man.
We're in week 9 already. Yeah, he's
He,
feeling it too.
yeah, he is. Yeah, week 9. So I mean, I guess first what we usually do, we go over the Thursday night matchup real quick. So Eagles and Texans. What are your initial thoughts here?
One-sided. One-sided game. Um, I hope the Eagles just start playing their second string at half because I feel like if they played, to their top ability the whole game, this would be just an absolute blowout, which is great for fantasy purposes. So, anybody who's got a couple people on the Eagles roster as in their fantasy lineups, this is going to be a great week. Texans, they don't really have much. Nico Collins is out. Brandon Cooks he's disgruntled right now. We'll see how that goes. Dameon Pierce seems like the only viable option on that Texans offense, but the Texans are going to be playing from behind.
Yeah.
So unless they get him involved in the passing game, I don't see him being, just kind of that workhorse back that just gets, pushed through and through and through to try to, break something loose. What about you, man? How about them Eagles?
Yeah, man, 7-0. I mean, I honestly don't see them losing. Like I don't know. The
They
rest
got
of
a
their
pretty easy rest of
they
the schedule.
do. Like I
Pretty
don't see
easy.
any of these teams beating them. The only really tough game. I mean, they play the Packers. They play the Bears. You never know there.
Oh
Um,
yeah, don't even get me started.
they play the Cowboys again, obviously at Dallas. That's going to be the toughest one,
I
I
think
think.
that's going to be the toughest one. Yeah.
Yeah, because Dak will be
That should be
back.
a good game. Yeah, well, Dak's already back, but we'll
Yeah.
see if the Cowboys start to just give it to Pollard anymore, and so Zeke looks like,
Oh
hey,
boy.
we know they can use him, but Jerry Jones, he loves him some Zeke. He really does. Like, I get it. He's a pretty good back, and he's great all around as a player, but Jones is like Zeke as a starter. Okay, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like once they paid him, like then
You kind of
they
have to use
yeah
him.
they almost have to use him, but that's why you don't pay running backs. I don't know. It's yeah, tough situation there, especially when you're a Tony Pollard owner,
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
Pollard definitely looks the better back.
He's quick.
Um,
He's just good all around. I don't know. He looks good. He does.
so Thursday night though, I think like you said for the Texans, I mean for the Eagles, you're firing up everybody. You know,
Yeah, of course.
everyone that
And
you have. Yeah,
this could be a good game for like their running situation because they know they're working out that passing game. Um,
yeah,
but this could be a great Miles Sanders game
yeah,
because they know what the situation is. They know that they don't have to like get their offense flying as fast and as high as possible. They can kind of be methodical about it and try different approaches, see where they need to work, and what is working for them. So this is kind of an easy game. I mean, but once you start thinking like that in the NFL, then things can go south. So
true.
if the Eagles fall into that mentality, like we could see some weird upset. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Davis Mills is going to lead the Texans to beat the undefeated Eagles right now. Especially they just got some dude from the Bears on their defense to
Robert Quinn.
add to their
Yeah.
defensive front. So it's like it's a primetime game, but it's mostly because the Eagles are there.
Now, the one thing I will say with Dameon Pierce, the Eagles just lost Jordan Davis, their first round draft pick. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain, and he
Yeah,
was
those are never fun.
he was so good against the run. So there might be some opportunities for Pierce, but I think, like you said, I think this is a Miles Sanders kind of game. The Eagles could easily get up a
It
couple
has to be,
touchdowns
right?
and then just start running the
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah, it has to be. Like that's what I'm thinking. I think they know that they can score pretty much in any way. Devontae, AJB,
Hmm.
Dallas Goddard, and then Hurts just being able to run the ball like he can. They've got so many options. Like, what do you defend first? So they're
Yeah.
going to start taking away all those, and then hopefully, CMC 2.5 can get some touches on the ball and break some runs loose. And yeah, it looks like Miles Sanders is starting lineup of CD's nuts.
Hmm. Yeah, and I
So
guess
he agrees.
that's a good segue. We can go ahead and jump into the matchups. I think this is a good one to start with. Me and Scotty. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the other matchups. I think this one's probably the matchup of the week. Other than that, maybe you've got Terry's Terrorists and the LeBron Kings, but this one here,
Everything
I
else
need to
seems a little
win
bit
bad.
one-sided.
I've lost
You
three in a
do.
row, and
You definitely
I'm
need
going
to.
against the number one team. So
Yeah, but like, well, you folks don't know what our points for and points against are, but CD's nuts opponents average a score of 130.4. I think that's what the number was. He's got the least amount of points scored against him, but he's also got I think the second highest amount of points scored for him. Either way, like things are rolling for him.
yeah,
So if this trend continues, just imagine that the Philadelphia Queeples are going to fall apart this week. So you better get ready for that blunt, just from that voodoo that
I know.
Scotty's been putting
Well,
out there.
I don't think I can get any more unlucky, to be honest. I mean, last week I put up 189 and lost. The week
Oh
before
my
that against
goodness,
Ruff, I lost by zero point 0.2 because Mike Boone couldn't gain a yard.
that
And
was
then,
so funny. Honestly, I couldn't stop laughing. At that point, you can't be mad at fantasy football, but you can absolutely hate it. Like,
yeah,
what do you do in that situation? You lose like point two.
stayed up all night to watch that terrible game to see if Mike Boone could gain 3 yards, and he could not.
They didn't
But
give the ball
anyway,
to him.
I'm not salty about that. So,
Oh,
um,
you don't hold on to things from past years, do you?
no, never,
You don't hold on to fluke losses and
never.
fluke championship toilet bowls.
Well,
Nothing like
I
that.
don't hold on. I mean, we
No,
can
you don't. Of course,
we
you
can
let them
call
go
them
because
out. I
you.
mean, like you said, they are flukes. We'll call them what they are, and then move on.
Uh huh.
But anyway, let's
Someone's playing the fluke box.
we're
Put a
gonna
little quarter in the fluke box. Play some tunes.
pull up some video here. So what are you thinking? So yeah, we're first matchup we're gonna go over Philadelphia Queefles and CD's Nuts. Me versus Scotty. Yeah, what's your first? What we'll go over my lineup first. What do you think about my lineup?
Lamar Jackson started off so good, and just those 45-point games, 43-point games, and then at week 8 he had 23 points, had 2 touchdowns, but weeks 4 through 7 have been tough for him. Like his highest scoring point in 4 of the last 5 weeks was 17.1 and point 0.5 PPR. He's still ranked 3 as a QB, which is kind of crazy because, after the first two quarterbacks, which is like Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen, the fall off is real. It's
Hmm.
like serious. He needs to get something going, and I know that they've had issues with keeping wide receivers healthy. And then Mark Andrews also not being healthy. That's probably not helping his situation. So then when teams see that, they can plan to stop the run from Lamar. So Ravens need to find something because Lamar can't do it all. Like literally, he's going to get tired. He's going to get beat up. They need to find a way for him to get the ball out. And if he can do that, then I think we can have a good game. But maybe he uses his leg this week and goes into the bye and takes extra rest. Brady's going through a divorce. Uh, that's how his year's going. Tampa Bay Bucks are not clicking. He's ranked 13th. He had a few good games, but you really need more consistent QB play at this point. That QB play, that consistency, that's what's going to put you over the edge. Um, and yeah, so how do you feel about Brady and Jackson?
Yeah, like you said, the first thing I pulled up Lamar Jackson here. I can't believe he's still position ranked 3.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind.
His first 3 weeks were really, really good. I mean, insanely good. And then he's kind of been down, but he did come out of his funk a little bit against Tampa Bay last week. So hopefully that's a good sign for him moving forward. Tom Brady, obviously disappointed. I thought I kind of got a steal with him, for how good he was last year. I think he was QB3 overall last year in our league, and he just has not been that. So yeah, I mean, I'm sticking with it. I've got him and Godwin together.
Well, I mean, you don't have anybody else to put in, so you kind
Yeah,
of have to.
exactly. And there's nothing really on the waivers that kind of, I think
No,
I
there
roll with
definitely
Brady.
isn't.
He's the GOAT. I think eventually
Do
they're going to
you?
start clicking.
Let me ask you a question. Do you trade for a quarterback? I think you kind of need to.
I've been debating it. Yeah, it's something I've thought about, but
You got any targets in mind? Because you're not going to be able to go after players from many teams. You're probably looking at Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert right now. Every single one of you
of
guys
course.
are. If you're not, you're idiots. Justin Fields could be a good candidate for you to target. Maybe you need to go over to Brownie Batter's
Well,
little store and see if you can do some shopping. You
Connor would
might get
probably
him for a
charge
good
me a
deal.
couple first round picks. I don't know if I could get a good round deal, but
It's a
uh,
possibility.
yeah,
What
I
about
mean,
Patty Mahomes and Tua? How do we think about them? Tua's playing his best ball last week. Statistically, he had a great game, and fantasy wise, he had a great game. But we're not seeing this consistency with Tua yet. He's had two really good games, and then the rest have been kind of meh.
well, I mean, he was out a couple of those, right?
Yeah. But what about
Yeah.
weeks 3, 4, and 7?
Four, he got hurt,
Okay,
and so did
he had 110 yards.
same with 3.
Oh yeah, he did.
He was out for a little. He did come back in week 3, but he was out for a little bit.
4 weeks are a scratch. 2 out of 2. So he's 2 out of 4 weeks. Boom. 2 out of 4 weeks bust.
Yeah,
So
I can see that.
he's kind of middling middling that consistency. If he can get it together, and we're going to start to see these next few weeks, then he's a real problem. Patrick Mahomes just got a new wide receiver with Kadarius Toney. We'll see how that works out. But do you think that it's been like a negative that he lost Tyreek?
No. I mean,
Especially
well,
not for Tyreek.
not for Tyreek especially. I mean, I would say yes, probably for Mahomes overall. Like, yeah, when you lose
Yeah,
a player like Tyreek, it's gonna be a negative, but because you can't replace that. But Mahomes has
no,
been just
you can't.
fine.
You can't find that speed. Now
Like,
Mahomes is a playmaker. He can
yeah,
extend the play. He can, and once his receivers, they're starting to realize that they can start coming back to the ball, getting open, and make things happen. That's what the Chiefs have done, the past few years that we've seen. And that's what Tyreek was so good at, getting back and getting open and getting to the ball. This is a pretty decent quarterback matchup. I'm going to give the slight edge to CD's nuts because Tua's been playing pretty decent and Brady hasn't.
yeah,
That's really where it comes down to, in my opinion.
yeah. I agree. I definitely give the edge there. I love what Tua's done this year. I don't think there's any, you know, hesitancy or anything like that with Tua. I mean, you put him in, I'm expecting big things from Tua and Patrick Mahomes every week if I'm Scotty. So I think he's definitely happy there. I would obviously, yeah, I give him the edge at quarterback for sure too.
And then we go down to the running backs. Someone's got some real good running backs here. Both of you, actually, I think you do. Wow.
Yeah, who are you
So
looking at? Okay.
I'm looking at the starting running backs for both of your teams, and then I'm going down to flex because we always put players that aren't in like the normal time slots on Sunday in your flex. And you've got Kamara in your flex, and then you've got D Swift and Dante Foreman starting for you. He's put up a game. He's put up 118 yards the last 2 games. At this point, you kind of got to start him. So we'll see how that goes. DeAndre Swift, the glass cannon himself.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting him in. You're going to start
Well,
him over Jamal
well,
Williams. You're going to
hold
do
on a
it.
second. If
We're going to change his mind. Okay.
if DeAndre Swift is active, I have to play him, right?
You do. You trade
Like,
too much for him to not
yes,
play him.
exactly. Like I just have to. That's um I'm honestly hoping he's hurt. I'm hoping he's hurt and he's out.
Yeah, I would think so too, because in that
Like,
point, you don't have to like question. You're like,
Yeah.
who's gonna get the work? Like, somebody's gonna get it. Jamal
'Cause-
Williams probably will get a touchdown.
Yeah, even if Swift is healthy and active,
Uh-huh.
Williams is still going to get 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah, that's what he's been doing. So yeah, I think that's a better point. Like, you just want to know the answer, and if one of them's out, then you know that the other one's going to get the work. And if there's any chance of touchdowns being scored by running backs, you've got him in.
yeah,
Like we talked about Miles Sanders, this is a good chance for the Eagles to use him, I think. And Dameon Pierce, they're gonna have to rely on this guy. He's their best player right now on the offense, especially fantasy wise. How do you think this situation running back wise is going to go for you versus Scotty? If we're looking at just the RBs and not the flex.
yeah, I was going to say, and the flex is different because obviously Scott has 2 more running backs in his flex, and I have 1, which is my stud. But and then obviously Christian McCaffrey's on a bye, so that's why.
You know
he's
what
not
though?
in my
You
lineup.
got really lucky that he got traded because the Panthers, their bye was in playoff week.
Oh yeah,
So
you're
like
right.
you getting him to have the bye now is
Yeah.
huge for CMC owners. That was so big.
That
He's
is
on
big.
a better team. He's being used in multiple ways, and his bye is not on the playoffs. So congratulations for trading for him.
Yeah, that is big. I guess I didn't really think about that, but yeah, that's big.
It's okay. It's what I'm here for.
I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing just yet because Foreman, obviously, he's blown up the past 2 weeks, and both of those weeks he's been on my bench.
Don't start Singletary.
Dude,
I'm telling you, Singletary, what's he done?
bro,
Nothing.
he's the workhorse though. Like he gets all the touches for the Bills.
Course. Yeah, but
I know they just
honest,
traded for
they're-
Hines, but
that's because Cook can't do it, or not Cook, but Singletary. I was thinking that the rookie Singletary can't do it, man.
He had 14 carries last week and 1 catch, but the week before that, 17 carries, 4 catches. I mean, he just gets the volume on the team,
His numbers have gone up more in the last half of the season, excluding the bye and then that Pittsburgh game. So I see where you're coming from, but like passing the eye test, like does he look that good, or are you just going solely based off of?
He looks good, but the thing is, like
I don't believe that.
He doesn't really score touchdowns. Like
no, he doesn't.
He
doesn't. He just moves the ball.
Last week he got stopped
the red zones
at the 1. He literally got stopped at the 1, and then
so he didn't score a touchdown.
No.
Okay.
He does not have any rushing touchdowns at all this year, and he has 1
and he has
receiving
one
touchdown.
Receiving?
Yeah.
So like he's in a great offense. He's going to get work. So I mean, I think that he's a borderline flex play.
Yeah, I think he's more
not
of a
borderline.
Flex,
He's almost like a flex lock in some situations, but we have big rosters.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I think Chuba Hubbard's injured right now, and what's that guy? The one dude named the 3rd string running back on Panthers, Blackshear. He's a rookie. He's not a high draft pick, so it seems like Foreman's gonna get the meat of it. And Carolina seems like they're better without CMC and Matt Rule. Like what the heck with PJ Walker being their QB? Like what's going on there? They just look better. It's crazy what happens when you trade some pieces from a team, or if a player gets new life at another place, like how much better they'll play.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's talk, for example, your bench. Chase Claypool just got traded to the Bears. We might see some new life from him and the Bears. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it could. And part of me, fantasy-wise, I don't know how I feel about it because Claypool, I mean, I was very close to Claypool, being a flex play for me. I mean, if you look at his stats, look at his targets all season long. 6, 6, 6, 2, 9, 7, 8,
especially
6.
Since week 5, the 9, 7, 8, 6, the last 4 weeks. And I dropped him like week 4 after he put up that little burger 0. Like, I'm like, well, I can't do anything with this. Yeah. He's competing with 2 different players that are really good.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky, I think, was still like in and around being the starting QB. It just did not look good for Chase Claypool, so I dropped him. I didn't have time for that. And now look, he's starting to get better. Now I feel like, dang, maybe I should.
And now he's going to the Bears. Who have been looking better, but
yeah, they've been playing their best football.
as a consistent passing offense, I just don't really see it from them yet. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. Justin Fields is making strides. He's looking good, especially using his legs. I like what they've been doing there. But I just don't know if Claypool's going to see a consistent enough like volume.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet. It's
maybe
going to
next
take a few
year.
weeks, I think. Yeah, next year I think he'll be locked in. Then, Justin Fields will have a few extra players to really work out and see if he is worth it with that arm talent. So, let's check out your wide receivers versus Scotty's wide receivers. You got on the Philadelphia Queeples, we got Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, and DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, I was hating on Hopkins before he started playing, and then he's just been a stud these last 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah,
it's insane. He
yeah,
just gets everything, and he's always getting a touchdown. He looks good. He really does.
yeah. I think since he's been back, he leads the league in catches, yards, and touchdowns.
I didn't need to hear that. Okay, I didn't. Not at all.
Well,
It's gross. Because like that's a
yeah,
great pickup by you because now you have these like stud wide receivers all with the letter D as their starting name.
yeah. You're right.
If
Uh,
you had, oh, and then D Foreman and D Swift. Any more D's you got there? D
Dallas Goddard.
Goddard, D
I'm a
Johnson,
D.
D
Yeah,
Singletary.
I'm a D kind
You
of
could
guy.
literally play a yeah. You could.
David
Oh, we
Njoku.
know. Yeah, you literally could be these nuts and start all dudes with the letter D.
That's funny. But yeah,
um,
I think obviously it doesn't. I mean, obviously, I feel like my wide receivers are
good.
like well, I'm
And
just like
hopefully that
10 times
Devontae
better
Adams
than
doesn't. Yeah,
these nuts.
hopefully Devontae Adams catches more than one reception.
Yes.
The Raiders, I don't know what's going on with them. Nobody really does. They look good one week and they look like poop the next. The inconsistencies are there. Yeah, like you said, wide receivers on CD's nuts. Michael Pittman Jr., Alan Lazard, Jacoby Myers. Honestly, the best of those three,
Oh boy.
Jacoby
Here we
Myers.
go.
Let's be honest. Look at
Here
it.
we
Look at this.
go.
Look at this. 9 for 13, 60 yards. That's not great, but he
Let me
got a
pull it up.
touchdown.
9 for 16, 60
Um,
yards. Yeah.
Look, he got double digit twice. He got 8 targets. Like for a Patriots offense that is a run first offense, Jacoby Myers is almost a lock
Yeah.
in the play. He's definitely a lock in the flex play. He's going to see volume.
Yeah.
He was touchdown dependent week 7 against the Bears, but if anything, I trust him more than I trust Alan Lazard, and then I trust him more than I trust Michael Pittman at this point
Yeah.
because the Colts are just awful.
Yeah.
So that's something that Scotty's going to need to go out and look for. He's going to need to get a receiver, maybe two, if he want. But what we've been seeing so far is he's had great luck this year. He just keeps winning. He won last week, and I can't believe that Joe Burrow looked like absolute poop.
Yeah.
So that'll happen. And then he's gotten his flex, Austin Eckler and Josh Jacobs, who I think have been his best skill position players this year, like hands
Yeah.
down for him.
Eckler
Like
is
they've been
running back
pushing.
2 on the season, and Josh Jacobs is running back 6. So,
Yeah, that's big time.
I would love to see the Josh Jacobs we saw last week, which was 10 carries for 43 yards, and 6 fantasy points. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they're playing at Jacksonville. I mean, it could be a big
Jacksonville's
Josh.
kind of sneaky good.
Yeah,
They make mistakes still, and that's like turning the ball over. Like Trevor Lawrence is turning the ball over a lot, but they've got some good pieces.
yeah.
So this could be like a good game from like two teams that could be good that just like shoot themselves in the foot more than once.
Whose flex do you like?
Well, this is a tough one because like basically both your flexes should be like in starting
Yeah,
position. Maybe Godwin
yeah.
Godwin
Godwin's
and DK are kind of interchangeable.
yeah,
Hopkins, but if he keeps playing how he is, I keep him starting. But I like both of these. Josh Jacobs, his inconsistency with just being on the Raiders right now, like that kind of takes him down a few. I think the most consistent player here is going to be Eckler because he's going to get the volume because Herbert's got no one else to throw to right now. Like
hmm
Mike Williams out, Keenan Allen out, Josh Palmer can't catch the ball. Gerald Everett is just he's gassed all the time. He's out of shape. But Kamara's been looking good. Kamara's been looking really good. Andy Dalton's figured out how to use him.
Yeah,
And since he's been traded, he's been so good for you.
he has.
So
Yeah,
I think it's really close. I think I'm going to give the edge with Scotty because of Eckler. And Godwin being with Brady, like yeah, he's always getting receptions, but they're not doing much. They're not getting much yardage with that offense,
but you
and
would
that's really
think
where it comes
eventually,
down
it's
to.
going to turn around eventually, right?
You would think.
Well, I think that pretty
Well,
much covers. Well, I guess
yeah,
I am getting Scott. Look at all of his buys. Holy cow! CeeDee Lamb, Najee Harris, Cortland Sutton, George Kittle, Kareem Hunt, all on buy.
but like let's be real. Najee doing
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing.
Sutton doing
Yeah,
nothing. Kittle's been decent.
yeah,
He's been getting double digits last 3 weeks, so I'll take you got to take that.
yeah.
But he's not. You're not really winning one over on him with with CeeDee Lamb and Najee Harris out. I mean, who's he going to start Najee over? Sanders maybe, just because, or Jacobs. I don't know. Like I don't know who he starts Najee over in this situation. I think though, like, who do you think is going to win this one? You should say yourself, right?
Sorry, I just got a trade offer. It's making me really.
Someone's up this early,
Someone's
trade
making me
wanting to trade
really
you.
think for a second. Holy cow!
Someone trying to get a wide receiver from you. Let me see. Let me see if I can guess
Anyway,
this.
well, hold on. I think we gotta. We both have things we need to get doing. Hold on. Let's go to. We basically covered
Well, who's
everything
going to
here.
win this? We got to see who's going to win. Who do you think's going to win
Oh,
this matchup?
uh, honestly, I think me. I've lost three in a row. My team has been doing pretty good though. I almost scored 190 last week, and that was
Yeah.
without Devontae Adams put up like 1 point.
Yeah.
I had a couple
If
big
he
games
does
from.
anything, if he does anything at all, you win that.
Yeah, I think so. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think this is going to be a really good game. But I'm going to give myself the edge. I think I'm going to pull it out and get back in the above 500.
I love the kind of confidence that you got. Just you're like kind of confident about
Well,
it.
Scott's the
I
best team in the
I
league
think
right now. So,
uh,
it's
I feel like
best
that's
record in the
debatable. I
league.
feel like if
Best
you
record in the
best
league.
record in the league,
Yes,
yes,
sorry.
I agree. Best
I
record, that's not debatable.
Yes,
Best team, debatable. I
agreed.
think Scotty's going to pull this one out again right now, just because of those four running backs that he has, and he's got good quarterbacks. Really, what you need here is big games from your receivers, and you need him to have a put night, and
Yeah.
that's how you win. But I don't know if that's going to happen. It could. I think this game's projection is like way different than what these actual players can do. So we'll see. All right, moving on. Let's go
Yeah.
to the next matchup.
What
Magic
match?
Skull Bus.
Okay, Magic School was. Yep.
Got the Savage Patch Kids TC. That's me. What do you think about this matchup? Blunt.
Let me pull up the fantasy cast here. Savage Pass Kids, Magic School Bus. So let's start with the quarterbacks. Again, you've got your two guys, your main boys, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. He's
Yes,
rolling
sir.
with Marcus Mariota this week. Okay, and Kyler Murray.
Who else has he got? Prescott's on bye. Watson's not playing still. And he's not going to drop Watson. He's going to hold on to Watson to make sure that Watson isn't better than Prescott or Murray. Will Watson be back before the trade deadline?
Uh,
I don't know. I think it's like week
who?
10 that he comes back.
Who?
Deshaun Watson. Deshaun
Oh, it's
Watson.
week 11 or week 11, I think.
Week 13,
Week
December
13.
4th.
Okay.
So that'll be after the trade deadline. That could be something. That could be a target. You might be able to get him for
Yeah, you're right.
a
Actually,
little bit of nothing. That could be a good one if he is the Deshaun Watson that we knew before we found out that he was a real freaking weirdo. Yeah, Mariota. What did Mariota do last week? Oh, he's had like pretty decent performances last 2 out of 4 weeks. Week 7, not so much. They got steamrolled by Cincinnati. He had 3 touchdowns last week, and I think they ended up beating the Panthers in overtime. That's a weird one. Quarterbacks, I win in
Yeah.
quarterbacks. That's easy right
Yeah,
there.
that's easy.
Yes.
Well,
Running backs,
yeah. No, you win.
I got Damian Harris.
Yeah.
I got Damian Harris and Michael Carter and as my starting running backs, folks.
Well,
It's a rough season.
Michael Carter now, obviously with Brees Hall going down, you don't love to see that since you were the Brees Hall owner in this league. But Michael Carter,
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be the guy. So,
Well, they right away they went out and got James Robinson. They have no trust in Michael Carter being the guy. They don't. Like they can't if they went out and got a player like
wait,
James Robinson
did
right
James
away.
Robinson play last week for him?
Yeah,
What did he do?
he got a few touches.
A few,
He didn't
right?
do much, but
Right.
either did Michael Carter. Like neither did much.
I'm going to pull up
Who they
his.
played
I thought
last
he
week?
got like,
It was against New England.
yeah, Michael Carter only had 7 carries. You're right. But he did have 4 catches. I still like Michael Carter.
That's good.
Like, that's,
He had 7 targets too. That's insane. Like that's what I need from him. We need targets from him.
And that's what we saw last year. I can't remember who. I think it was Scotty was the Michael
Adam,
Carter.
yeah.
And he just was getting.
And towards the end of the year, he turned into like a starter on the flex spot. He really did.
Obviously, Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
you got to give them the.
They're
edge.
I don't know. Like, let's see, what's Dalvin Cook 11th? He's had a little inconsistency in the beginning of the year. He's starting to turn it on. Do you think this is the last year that Keegan keeps both of these guys? I don't know if he can keep Cook after this, or maybe Jones, because Jones is going to be a passing back. But
I mean, look at the rest. Like, who else is he keeping on his team?
Yeah, he's going to keep Waddle. He's got to keep Waddle, right?
Yeah.
He could keep Ramondre Stevenson. He really could. Dude, look at Ramondre's stats. Look at those games. Since week 3, 18, 10, 18, 23, 19, 17. This guy is good. He's so good.
Yeah, he is, but I mean...
You be a hater, but if you watch a game and watch
No,
him
I'm not
play,
hating. It's just a Patriots player and you're getting all juiced up, but...
starting Damian Harris, who's got a projection for of 8 points this week because he dropped that pass after he came back from the
why are you starting him over your boy Brian Robinson?
Brian Robinson has been garbage too, man. The whole team is just a turd filled with corn. Okay, like it's not good, and I can't start AJ Dillon because what the heck has he done? He's position ranked 36. Dude scored 1 touchdown at the beginning of the year, and I thought I was riding high. I should have traded him then. Honestly, I offered Keegan a straight-up trade A.J. Dillon for Ramondre Stevenson, and I think he was going to accept. But then I said no because he was going to accept. I said, nope, fuck off. Well, pardon my language, folks. Yeah, so I look like a fool there. He's got the running back situation tied up. He's going to beat me on the running backs this week. Wide receivers, that's a little different. I think it's closer wide receiver-wise than running back-wise. I've got T. Higgins, Olave Garden, and Tyler Boyd. Got Waddle, DJ Moore, and Gabe Davis. Let's talk about DJ Moore. DJ Moore's been, great since they fired the head coach and got rid of CMC, and PJ Walker's been starting. So that's impressive. If he can keep doing that, that's great for him. But I don't want to see it this week. Not at all.
Yeah, obviously I've been on the record hating on DJ Moore quite a bit, but
Really?
I can't deny what he's been doing. Can't deny it any longer. He's still only position ranked 23, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here too much. He just had that
because
huge
of those
game.
games where he had 2 points. He had 2-point games this season.
He had two
Garbage.
2-point games, but look at most of his games. 6.5,
Yeah,
2.0, 9.1, 8. I mean,
Yeah,
decent.
still not good,
Yeah,
except
not
for the
good.
last 2 weeks.
In the last 2 weeks,
So,
it was
yeah.
16, which is still not great.
But that's because he had that huge play.
Exactly. That's the only reason that
and
he
then
even had 24 points last week was because of that big play. That's not going to happen every
He took his
week.
helmet off. Then he took his helmet off and got called for a penalty, which eventually lost him the game because the field goal kicker missed the extra point.
So, I mean, if it weren't for that big play, I would still be hating on DJ Moore. And I feel like I still should be, honestly.
Then do it. Hate on him.
Like, I don't know.
You otherwise.
Yeah, Waddle, Moore, Gabe Davis are his 3 starting wide receivers at the moment. He's got Hawkinson in his flex. What in the world is going on here? Anyway, you've got Higgins, Olave, and Boyd. This is interesting.
Not bad, honestly. Not bad. If these guys play to like their best games, I got a pretty solid wide receiver core. Like if especially like if Burrow can just start slinging it to both these guys, and Olave just gets those big plays that he has been getting, I'll be happy. I'll be happy if each one of them gets 2 touchdowns. Totally cool with me.
I'm sure you would. I think edge-wise, I'm going to have to give it to... Well, yeah, this is tough.
See? It is tough. Especially because Chase is out. Like, that's what makes it... That's what swings it my way. Because Boyd, he had that big game a couple weeks ago, and they both caught touchdowns last week. Boyd is ranked 12. Higgins 18. So Boyd is higher ranked than Higgins right now. Blows my mind. That's because of that big game that Boyd had. He had 25.5 and half-point PPR. And he's got 4 touchdowns on the year. Higgins has 3 touchdowns on the year. But Higgins also got injured this year too. So he kind of gets injured every year, at least once, we've come to realize.
Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm going to give the edge to your wide receivers because I don't like DJ Moore. Gabe Davis has been boomer bust. I mean,
yes.
And I mean, you've got Higgins and Boyd, and with Jamar Chase out, those are the 2 guys. And if the Bengals are going to win and be successful, they've got to throw it. So I do like those guys.
Mixon hasn't been doing anything. Mixon's been the old Mixon that we knew and loved.
And then with Olave,
so they really do need to get. Yeah.
He's what is he ranked? He's 19. He's been. I don't think last week was as good.
No, he didn't.
But he still had 5 catches, 7 targets, 52 yards. I mean,
yeah, not bad. And he's a rookie, so like I can't be upset. Like this is all I could have asked for him. Like somebody that I could kind of count on every week to be a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Tight end wise, Mark Andrews over Gerald Everett every day of the week. And then flex, I've got Romeo Dubes and Joshua Palmer.
Of course you do.
Like these dudes are gonna drop more balls than my wide receivers will catch. I'm guaranteeing that. And then we look across the pond, Ramondre Stevenson, who I already talked up, and TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Who else could he put in over Hawkinson? Not really many people. Yeah, he's got buys with.
He has a lot of buys, and he's got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, so I think Hawkinson really might be his best bet.
Yeah, I mean,
or it's
I think
Rashad White.
If there's any week to play Keegan, this is a good one to do it.
And he doesn't have a defense starting because he doesn't know who to drop. My guess is he drops one of the Chiefs running backs.
Probably.
Or I guess he could drop Rashad White. Who's he going to pick up defense-wise?
I mean, even if he does, I mean, there's not a lot of great options. Trust me. I just picked one up yesterday.
It's not going to add much to his team if he picks him up.
I think flex-wise, I mean, yours is yucky. Romeo Dubes,
but they have potential.
Well, Romeo Dubes,
if they can get those touchdowns, he got a touchdown last week. He's got 3 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He does.
His highest targets are 9. His most receptions in a game is 8.
Joshua Palmer,
he can get the ball. Yeah. Joshua Palmer, he had 12 targets in week 6, though. And then he was out for concussion protocol on week 7, and then they had the bye week. So hopefully he's healthy, and like he just keeps rolling that train.
Yeah.
Like maybe – and also Herbert's been he's been hurt all year. He's been playing with these cracked ribs. So, like, of course, he's kind of been abysmal. But, if we get a healthy Palmer and a healthy Herbert, maybe there'll be sparks. Maybe.
Matchup wise, I'm gonna go with you. Overall, I think you're gonna win this one.
I do have good matchups, like favorable defenses that my offensive players are playing against. Yeah, I'm gonna go for me. I'm due a win, right? I'm 1-7. I got a 1% chance of making the playoffs. The push starts now. This time last year, you guys were telling me to sell my team,
And you should have.
and I didn't, and I did not. Honestly, if I didn't sell off Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara this year, I'd have a pretty decent team
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
because then I would have drafted wide receivers early, and I'd be in a good spot. But I screwed the pooch on that one. All right, let's move on to our next one. Who do you want to go with?
Let's go with the brownie batter. Who's he playing? Skinnessy?
Titans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is looking one-sided right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not this one shouldn't take us too long, but quarterback wise, I mean, again, this is not
Yeah,
even
it's not.
close.
But what can be said here is that the best quarterback on Brownie Batter's team is Justin Fields, um, which is he's loving it. He's loving that he gets to start his quarterback in his fantasy lineup. Like just start him and lock him at this point. Like he loves that. Derek Carr, oh wow, 1.9 points week 8. What is he doing? Like what is going on? Derek Carr is not the answer for Oakland. They need to move on, draft a QB, do something. It's not him.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really watched a ton. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I watched more, but yeah, man, it just
It's hard
doesn't.
to watch every football game. It
Yeah,
really is.
it is.
There are so many games.
I don't know what's going on there. You would think that with Devontae Adams coming in, those guys being college, buddies and stuff, that things were gonna,
Yeah, but Devontae went from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr,
yeah,
a first ballot Hall of Famer to like
yeah,
some dude that knows a Hall of Famer.
yeah. I mean,
And
you're right.
that's what everyone was saying. Like, oh, they were college roommates. They got to be, or college teammates. They got to be good, right? Because of the whole Burrow and Jamar Chase thing. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's true, especially after that abysmal performance from last week from both of them.
Yeah,
But on Skinnessy Titans, he's got Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Like, if you have two QBs, these are the guys you want because they do it with their legs and their
yeah.
arms. And Jalen
Literally
Hurts is having
QB1
himself.
and okay, okay. I thought Jalen was QB2, but he's QB5.
Well,
Okay, interesting.
yeah, because Joe Burrow had a freak game,
Wait,
and
is Burrow
Joe Burrow's
QB2?
actually Burrow's QB2 right
Is
now.
he really? Wow, I did not know
Yes,
that.
he is.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
What he is, boys. Yeah, and
Huh.
folks, if you're planning on coming after Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, I'm not just gonna sell them to you. I'm gonna need something. I'm gonna need some big time cash. If you really want to win this year, you'll fork it up.
All
That goes for
right.
you too, Mr. Blunt. If you want
Okay.
Joe Burrow,
Good to know.
you're gonna have to drop. At this point, if you trade Joe Burrow or for Joe Burrow and get him for me, like you basically drafted my whole team
I
or you
know,
traded
right?
for my whole
Yeah, I
team.
know.
It's like here, I'm like here you go. Here's my players. Just give me
Yeah.
all your money.
hmm Yeah, that's pretty much what it's been. Obviously, Skin has the advantage here at quarterback. Running back, though, could be a different story. I mean, obviously, at first glance, I think Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne is better. But wait,
Nope, no. Jonathan Taylor sucks this year.
yeah, he
Jonathan Taylor
does.
is not good this year, and he tweaked his ankle again. He's probably not even going to play.
Wait, did the Bears trade David Montgomery?
No, they didn't. It was a
Okay.
rumor
It was a
that
rumor. Okay.
somebody in our group who was a Bears fanatic
Gotcha.
said. So we all believed him.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah. Okay.
ETN's been great. He's been having huge plays, but running back, I honestly I think that Brownie Badgers got the two better starting running backs with Kenneth Walker 3 and what's his first name? Herbert's first name? Khalil
Khalil.
Herbert.
Yeah.
He's been good. He's been better than Montgomery. Little inconsistent, but he's had some really good games. And I think Walker is a great rookie. He's had oh my goodness 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games. Jiminy Jones.
Who? Walker?
That's Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
5 touchdowns in the last 4 games. That's crazy. So really, with Jonathan Taylor playing like poo, ETN's been consistent the last 4 weeks. I think I'm going to give a slight edge to Brownie Batter on running backs here, just
Yeah.
because Jonathan Taylor.
And I
He's not good.
understand. I understand why you would. I think it's pretty close. I'm still gonna keep it with Jonathan Taylor, the Jonathan Taylor side. I know he has not been good. Let me see what he's running back 33 on the
This
year.
seems this seems like CMC, like a repeat. Like the year, like I think it was 2019. He had such a good year, and then he was injured most of 2020. It's because of how much they used him. They used Jonathan Taylor so much last year for everything. Like, dude is just
Yeah,
probably beat down. Honestly, they just need to be like, yo, like we're gonna let you take longer rest so that we can get you back healthy and recovered. That is what you need to get your players, like recover them so they're healthy, and then let them get back in.
I think it's only a matter of time before Taylor kind of has another big game. I mean, if you look at his log here, we've got it pulled up. 16 carries last week. The week before, he had 10 carries, but he had 7 catches. Then he missed the 2 games, but before that, 20 carries, 21 carries. He had a game with 31 carries. I mean,
That's
he's
insane.
he's still getting a ton
31
of,
carries.
yeah, it is. And that was week one,
He
and that
is. He's
hasn't happened
and
again. But
we know how good he can be with and I see where you're coming from, but like I'm just going with like the data, like the trend right now. But Jonathan Taylor, I think, is the best of the four. He has the potential to be the best, but just right now he's kind of beat up.
yeah, and then with ETN looking better and better, that and the fact I think Jonathan Taylor is due for a big game, I think I'm going to give the edge there. But I understand the other side's good too. As for the wide receivers, this is pretty close. These are both good wide receiver crews, but I think one side's got the edge here.
Yeah, Brownie Batter is starting Juju Smith-Schuster as his third wide receiver. He's got Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown. Those two are just lock him, load him.
Yeah,
Smith-Schuster, he hasn't been bad, and he's had some good games. In last 2 weeks, it kind of touchdown dependent. He's had some big touchdowns that put him, 19.8 points, 21.9 points. Like if he can repeat that, that was week 6 and 7, then this is going to be a good wide receiver core for Brownie Batter. But when you're going against Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's tough because
yeah.
these guys are studs. Amon-Ra, he's been dealing with injuries in and out this year, but we saw him play and he looks just explosive. He's like lightning out there. Just gets the ball and he's doing something with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's both of these wide receiving cores are good. And honestly, with Juju, he might be the weakest one here, but with that said, he's been looking pretty dang good. He's clearly kind of the
Mm-hmm.
number one guy, I think, in Kansas City. He's kind of growing into that
Until Tony
role.
gets up to speed. Let's be real
Well,
here.
I guess yeah, that's true. They did add Tony. We don't know how that's going to shake out just yet, but
Dude's even healthier
uh,
if he's just got glass hamstrings.
Juju, the last few games, 7 catches, 124, a touchdown, 5, 113 and a touchdown. It's
Yeah.
been looking pretty good, and he's gotten solid
Yeah, he's had
targets.
some big yeah,
Yeah,
he had some big receptions too for like high yardage that put him
yeah.
really up there.
So,
The tight ends really don't matter on these two. We got Mike Gesicki versus Hayden Hurst. Like they both have
he's
potential to like
benching
score high,
Kyle
but
Pitts again. Well, is
no,
he?
Kyle Pitts is in his flex.
Oh, he is. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, he is.
Gesicki's like basically a wide receiver, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He was
kind
last
of.
year,
Like they
and this
split him
year he's
out.
kind of
Yeah,
competing for targets with Hill and Waddle. Wow, a bunch of Dolphins players in this lineup. If you look
that's
across
true.
the pond at the flex, you got Raheem Mostert starting for the Tennessee Titans. He's also starting Christian Kirk. Kirk's having a pretty decent year. He started off hot. He's kind of going cold right now. What do you think about Mooney? How do you think he feels now that they got Chase Claypool?
I don't think he should be in a lineup.
I agree with you.
Uh,
I think Montgomery should. I would put Montgomery in over Mooney at this point. Maybe. Even Rondale Moore could be a good flex at this point. He looked real good this past week. Definitely touchdown dependent. Um, Garrett Wilson maybe. He had 6 or 7, 115 yards. So it's kind of tough because he's got these players on bye and he's just trying to fit the best person in. It's
yeah,
like who's going to get the touchdown?
I think I
You
would put
don't
in
know.
Garrett Wilson over Mooney personally.
And who are they playing? Buffalo. This is a division game, so
Well,
Buffalo's going to
Buffalo's a
score a
tough
lot. So
matchup, but
uh-huh.
yeah, like
But
you
they're going to
said,
have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to throw the ball. If anything, Buffalo watched the Patriots-Jets game, and they're gonna put a lot of pressure on Zach Wilson and make him scramble. So, but he's good at scrambling. He's really good at like getting away. He's like an escape artist. And if he can like extend the plays and his wide receivers get open, then the Jets can move the ball, and that could be Wilson.
You're right. Wilson had a big game last week, and I know you don't want to chase the points necessarily, but because he did have some kind of duds before that, but I would put him in over Mooney personally, because like I just don't see how week in and week out you're starting 3 Bears. Like Mooney, Herbert, Fields every week. It's just
You know
not
how?
winning.
You just got to be a fan of the Bears.
It just doesn't seem like a winning formula in fantasy. But what do I know? I'm a 2-time toilet champ, 1-time champ though.
Hey, acceptance.
I do have 1 ring. Well, I mean fluke toilets, but either way,
fluke toilets.
So yeah, flex wise, I got to give it to Jake. I mean, I don't like either of these sides really, but
yeah, me either. But they are flex players for a reason. But Mooney, I think, is the worst of the 4, or least likely to get anything. And then Pitt's coming off his biggest game of the year. He had a touchdown and 80 yards. So, hopefully they can repeat that. And then Brownie Batter will be happy about that. Who are you taking in this matchup?
Yeah, I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. The quarterbacks are too good. Yeah, I'm going to have to
as well.
I think the running backs are due for a big game. Wide receivers are better. The flex, I gave him the edge there. So yeah.
What's really holding the Brownie Batter back, I think, is Derek Carr, and then his flex.
I agree. 100%. Finally, I think we've got one more matchup, right?
Yep.
Who is it? Terry's Terrorists and
LeBron Kings.
LeBron Kings, yes. Let's go there. All right, quarterbacks. What are we thinking?
How good has Geno Smith been this year?
He's been very
Looking
good.
At those 4,
he is QB 7.
Geno Smith is better than Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Trevor Lawrence this year. Yep, folks, you heard that right. Blows my mind. Nobody thought this was gonna happen. They thought, that Seattle was in rebuild mode after they traded Russ, but no, like they came out looking smart. Like, what's Seattle's record?
4-3 are they? I want to say
4-4, or 5-3. I think, did they lose last week? No, I think they won last week. I think they might be. They're 5-3, something like that. Either way, like
I'm looking it up.
Geno Smith has been everything and more that the Seahawks could have asked for. He's hitting his targets. DK's like a viable fantasy option. Tyler Lockett's a viable fantasy option, and Geno Smith is a viable fantasy option. That is huge for them. Like their rebuild happened so much quicker than they thought. They got a great running back. Their 2 wide receivers are still kicking butt, and this quarterback is throwing the ball and he's making good decisions. So that's great. I've got him in one of my dynasty leagues. He's been good for me. Matt Stafford on Terry's Terrorists, like, he's tired. Let's be honest. Dude's tired. He's got a broken up body and trying to hold it together with duct tape and, keep Cooper Kupp in the runnings to get another Super Bowl. But it's like, what do you expect? Like, he kind of got his. Yeah, exactly. I agree, Cooper. I agree. And he's tired. Once you win a Super Bowl, you had a longer year. He's like, I finally got my Super Bowl after playing for the Lions for so long.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of the Keegsy disease. Like that's what it is. It's that mental relaxation after peaking, and it happens to athletes a lot. It happens to people a lot. So
yeah, it happens in fantasy football too. It's called the Keegsy disease. I mean,
yeah, it does.
It's a real thing. But
unless you draft Jalen Hurts super early, and then both your quarterbacks are just studs, and then they keep pushing you into into wins and stuff.
Well, yes, but don't give Jake too much credit because he's still got the disease. The rest of his draft was terrible.
Well, he got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And
He's
ETN,
good.
but I mean, we'll see.
ETN
We'll see.
is
We'll
probably
see. We'll
the best
see.
pick. We will see. I don't know if these players are going to carry him to the promised land, but yeah, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is the turnover king right now. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 10 turnovers on the year, 6 interceptions and 4 fumbles. 4 fumbles against the Eagles. Wow. But he's still position ranked 10. So when he's not turning the ball over, he's good. He's really good. He's like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last.
You're right. You're right.
And Aaron Rodgers is just probably going to retire after this year.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers QB 16, Matt Stafford QB 24. Some of these guys, that were great fantasy options last year, just not. The older guys just don't. They're not putting up the same numbers, but it's not necessarily all on them. Aaron Rodgers obviously has a lot of. The whole offense is young. The wide receivers are young. They don't know where they're supposed to be half the time. LA, who knows? I mean, from what I can see, the offensive line doesn't look that good, and
they're grasping. LA is grasping at straws, kind of. They're like trying to pull something together, which is like, and they were trying to trade Akers, but nobody wanted him.
With
funny.
The running backs, I think. Well, this is tough. Fournette and Mixon are both good options, but when you have Derrick
Mixon
Henry,
isn't even doing anything this year.
well, this has kind of been the same old story for Mixon, but he's running back 14. So I mean,
And that's what the crazy thing is, though. That just goes to show about how fantasy football in general has been down. Like all scoring has been down on the year.
Mixon has
Like
been
the
an
lowest scoring
RB2.
year in 12 years.
Fournette's
Yeah,
running back
you got to
8.
start him.
So
Fournette is so touchdown dependent.
well, he's running back 8, so you got to start him. Mixon running back 14.
You do.
You got to start him.
Week 1, he had 127 yards, which is wild. Week 4, -3 rushing yards, but he had 57 yards receiving. That's where he's coming in. Like, that's what's getting him the most points. Fournette is the receiving that he's doing.
Yeah.
He's got 3 reception touchdowns, and he's got 2 rushing touchdowns. So he's been great for fantasy. He really has. And who would have thought this is the Leonard Fournette that used to play for the Jags that we called Fat Lenny, that didn't
The guy
really...
I drafted first overall instead of Christian McCaffrey, yeah.
Yeah, we will remember that day. I caught some slack. You were the only one that thought it was a good pick.
I know.
Turned out to be pretty good. Then I traded him because I didn't trust him this year. It's okay.
On the other
I'll
side,
cry
though,
later.
Derrick Henry is just doing Derrick Henry stuff this year. I mean,
Yeah,
running
he's
back
good.
5.
I can't believe he's still like consistently playing.
Look at his carries, like his game log, the amount of carries he gets every week.
21, 13, 20, 22, 28, 30, 32.
32
Oh my
for 219 and 2 touchdowns
Wow,
last week.
look at this. So we were just talking about how Miles Sanders is going to have himself a week.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry ran the ball 32 times for 219 yards and 2 scores for 35.3.5 PPR.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts are going to have a game this week.
Yeah, I think so.
Heck, Kenneth Gainwell might even be a viable option if you're strapped.
Right.
And is that the running back 2 on the Eagles?
Well, Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell both kind of.
I haven't
that's
even
why
heard
it's
anything
tough.
of Boston Scott. I didn't know if he was still playing.
He was hurt, but he's been back the last couple of weeks. And he's gotten some
Okay.
carries.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel super comfortable putting either of them in, but yeah, I think this is going to be a big Miles Sanders week, definitely.
It should be. The script calls the script seems like that's what's going to happen, folks.
Antonio
Gibson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Honestly,
he's
been playing better.
Yeah.
Since Brian Robinson's been in.
Yeah. Doesn't get a ton of carries, but he gets catches.
Which is stupid. Like, when he has the ball and, like, if you're throwing him the ball, if he's making receptions, yeah, like, he went 7 for 7 week 8, 58 yards and a touchdown. 3 for 4 and a touchdown week 7. That's what they need to do with this guy. They need to use him as a check down back and just get the ball in his hands and give him a little space and he'll make things happen. Yeah. He's still a good player. I just don't think that they're using him to, like, his abilities right.
Yeah,
But
I
who am
mean,
I? Just some dude
last
talking
week,
about it in my basement.
7 carries, 19 yards, 7 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, had 7 catches, and that's his second time on the year where he saw 7 catches. So he's,
And this is like last year when they had McKissick being like, the
yeah,
receiving back and Gibson was like the run first option.
yeah,
McKissick looked better.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's because of the way that you're getting him into space. Like, why don't you do that to Gibson? Gibson's definitely a better player. But now they're doing that. And I think that Gibson is a rising star at this point.
A rising star.
Yeah, bro, he's not a star really fantasy, but like
That's a
he's up
little.
and up. It's an expression. He's getting better because they're using him correctly.
He is running back 20 on the season. That's kind of surprising to me. But yeah, I think at this point he is kind of almost a must start. I mean, at least a
But
good
Joe
flex
Mixon's
play.
running back 14, not
Yeah.
much better, and we talk about Mixon like he's like obviously a locked player.
Well, yeah. Mixon's a 3 down running back for the Bengals, and
That's because who are they
Gibson's
going to give
a.
it to? Perrine? They're going to give it to Perrine to like take the edge off? No, ain't happening. Mixon's all they
So
got.
what? Who are you giving the edge to at running back? Well, I guess at quarterback too.
Uh,
We didn't say it.
quarterback. I'm going to go with Geno Smith. Like he's got the edge over
Just
everybody
Gino.
else. Just Geno. Running back. Fournette and Henry are like really close. I'm going to give Henry the edge there, but then Mixon I think is a little better than Gibson. Like these are very even running back wise.
Yeah, I agree. I think quarterback. I'm gonna go the other side. Um,
You
I
like Rodgers and Lawrence
I like Gino the most, but I think I like Rodgers and Lawrence together. Um,
better than Stafford. Yeah, Stafford's
yeah,
definitely like just broken right now.
yeah. I think that's that. Running back. Yeah, this one's tough. I'm gonna go. I gotta go with the side with Derrick Henry though.
Yeah, you would.
So
And that's why this matchup is really close though, because these players like we're looking back and forth. It's hard to see which one of these groups you'd rather have.
yeah,
When we look at wide receivers, LeBron Kings has Stephon Diggs having a great year. Devontae Smith, Tyler Lockett is having a great year too. And then we have Adam Thielen, Terry McLaurin, and Mike Evans. Um, this one isn't as tough. I think the edge on here is going to definitely go to LeBron
yeah,
Kings because Lockett and Diggs.
yeah,
And then Smith has had his blow up games where there's definitely potential there. Thielen, I haven't really even heard much of Thielen. He's got 2 touchdowns on the year. He's kind of touchdown dependent. He's ranked 36. Yeah, definitely a touchdown dependent player. Terry McLaurin, not doing bad since Heineke kind of took
yeah,
over.
yeah. He's at a
And Mike Evans,
yeah.
what's he at? Yeah.
He's wide receiver 11. He's. I mean, you look at his game log. It's definitely very good. 6 for 123, 9 for 96, 4 for 42, 4 for 81, 8 for 103. I mean, these guys. Yeah, Mike Evans is obviously a lock. McLaurin's been better.
He's definitely a locks flex play, McLaurin, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
What do we got? Do we got some bye weeks on the Terry's terrorists?
Debo's on a bye. I mean, Jerry Judy,
Judy.
but yeah, this lineup
There
would
were rumors
definitely
Judy was going to
look.
be traded. Yeah, Judy's been inconsistent. Ooh.
Yeah, I agree. I think the edge definitely at wide receiver goes to LeBron King. Steph Diggs, wide receiver 1 on the year. Lockett and Gino, we already kind of talked about that. They've been good. Tight end, I don't. I think this one goes without saying. This one team has Travis
That's
Kelce,
because
and the
there's
other
only one
doesn't.
tight end. There's only one tight end. Travis Kelce's a tight end. Taysom Hill is not a tight end.
Yeah,
Like he should just be labeled as flex player,
it still
and you can
bugs me
only
that
put him
they
in your
allow him to
flex.
put him at tight end. It's just that they list him at tight
Yeah,
end. I don't know. I don't like that. He should be
yeah,
listed at quarterback.
especially tight end, especially tight end.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's different.
exactly.
I don't know, but I really think that they should just make a flex position player, and it only is Taysom Hill, and you can put him in at running back or wide receiver. I mean, I guess you technically could put him in at tight end if he was flex, but I don't. But still, it's weird, like because he has those huge games, like
Yeah.
week 5, 35 points. What the heck? 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. What is going on with that?
Yeah.
But tight end wise, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's better than most wide receivers.
Yes. Yeah, that one definitely goes without saying. As for the flex, this one's probably a little bit tougher. But I mean,
Yeah, this is a bunch of poo poo. I would have loved to play one of these teams this week. Like, what the heck?
I know.
I mean, James Conner's back in. He was, injured
Yeah.
last 3 weeks. We'll see what he does. He didn't do anything. He hasn't done anything really in like the first 5 weeks. He had 1 touchdown. Drake London had a few good games, and then he's just kind of been non-existent. I mean, he's getting what's coming his way, but I don't know.
Yeah, neither of these flex plays are I don't love either side. I think, man, this is tough. If James Conner's like back healthy 100% and if he's like going to get all the carries, let me see what is.
Yeah, upside and potential, I think Harris has this.
Opening, let me see. Connor starting as a limited.
Paris Campbell has had 2 good games out of the last 3 weeks. So I think that's what Ruff's searching for right now. And he's got Nick Chubb on bye. And he's got Brandon Ayuk on bye, and Ezekiel Elliott's hurt.
Yeah.
So they're just plugging players they have on their bench. This is why we have a bench, folks, for weeks like this, for the bye weeks.
Most definitely. You're giving this edge to Terry's Terrace with the flex?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. If James Conner's back, like if he's gonna be on his account, then I would probably flip it, honestly. But I don't know. Yeah. Overall, who you got?
I think that's a tough one. Touchdown wise, I think that LeBron Kings they're gonna have more chance of getting touchdowns. I don't know. It's really tough. It's really a toss up. I think I'm gonna stick with LeBron Kings winning this one. He's 2-6, or he's 6-2. Terrace is 2-6. That's for a reason. I don't know. The points against for LeBron Kings has been pretty great. He's out playing folks, and he's got the best record he's ever had. He's looking to make a playoff push. Real quick though, like what do these teams need to add? Like, what do they need if they want to be a contender? Like, what is the LeBron Kings? What position do they need the most if they really want to be a contender?
Probably quarterback.
Yeah,
but then again,
I think so.
I mean, well, hold on. Yeah, you do have Chubb. I was thinking running back for a second, but Chubb,
running
Ayuk's
backs are
on bye,
good.
and Ayuk's been pretty good. He does have
Yeah, Ayuk's
Elliott
been
who's
pretty
out.
good.
His team is pretty good,
He really needs
but
he really needs quarterbacks.
I think quarterback would help. As for
What
the
about
Terry's
Terry
Terrace, yeah,
It's gonna be hard for him to get into the playoffs with the 2-6 record.
right. Yeah, if
A
I'm
quarterback
him, I
definitely
mean,
would help him.
I'm not looking at the playoffs. I would be looking to acquire picks, but I don't think he's probably,
I could see him moving Geno Smith. Like that's a quarterback that somebody could target. You could target him too.
I could, or I
and he
mean,
could
maybe
be a
even
good.
Ruff should. He's got
Right,
Lockett.
yeah,
Like that would be a good target for
he
him.
really
But
does. A good stack. Send like a mid-round pick and like Aaron Rodgers for Geno Smith.
yeah,
It's not a sure thing. Like, it's not a lock that Geno's going to be good. We want to see a full year of Geno doing what he has been doing so far before, I'm on the train, but
yeah,
like, I'm impressed so far by what I've seen. And it could be a gamble to go after him to try to give your team that extra push. But like you said, that stack would be nice.
definitely.
You want to go through some other teams real quick to see what they need? I think
Sure.
that's a kind of a good point.
Which matchup you want to go to?
What do you think Skinny Titan needs? I think he needs a running back.
Tennessee Titans. I think he
needs
needs
a running back.
He needs anything, honestly. Well, except quarterback. But he could use another wide
He's good
receiver
on
or running
quarterback.
back.
Yeah,
Just because like his
definitely
flex
running
like
back.
aren't good.
Yeah,
He did
his
trade
flex
for
is kinda
Amari
poopy.
Cooper. He gave up a second round pick
Yeah.
to go get him. He's on bye. So I don't know. Maybe that's the only move he makes, but I don't know if that's enough or good enough to to do it.
Yeah, he's going to need something. He's going to need something else to give him that push. Brownie batter, at this point, I don't know if I'm seeking out players,
Yeah, I'm not.
but I don't know if he's going to trade Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields will be a keeper for him. If Justin Fields keeps playing like he has these last 3 weeks, 4 weeks even since Minnesota, then I think he's a keeper for him. And especially because we have a 2 QB league and he just loves the Bears and especially Fields. And it's almost like a proving everybody wrong keeper kind of situation where it's like, you know what, you all hated on Fields for so long. Now you want to be on his side, but you can't have him because he's mine and I'm keeping it.
Mm.
I'm just trying to get
trying to
in
get
Conrad's
into his
head right now.
Yeah. I mean, I could, yeah, if you're going to get into his head, I could see that, but I would hope that's not what he does. But yeah, if I'm him, I'm not trying to make a trade. I mean, obviously, what's his record? 2-6. Yeah, not good. It's time to sell, bud.
And if you do go after Justin Fields, I think he's going to want a lot for him.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, if I'm him, I'm not making a trade for a player. I'm definitely trying to get picks and start building for next year. As for you and the Magic Skull Bus,
yeah, I probably shouldn't be trying to trade for players unless it's like a keeper. But at this point, there aren't many teams that have keepers that I would want to trade for, and I've got draft capital out the wazoo.
Now, when you say that, what do you mean by that? There aren't teams with keepers you would want to trade for.
Well, okay, are you going to trade one of your keepers to me?
No, not right now.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like the players that have keepers that I want, they're not the teams that have players and keepers that I want.
Yeah,
they're not going to
trade right now. Yeah,
they wouldn't. If they want to be contenders, if they want to keep playing this, they're not going to trade. So there's only like a few options of teams that I could even, trade for. And at this point, I'm not going to get anybody who's a certified stud. I've got to take shot in the darks at players who have potential. But if that's the case, then I don't trade for any and waste my draft capital and keep the players on my teams that are stud, and then just draft them all in the first round next year.
Yes, or I trade with you and get Christian McCaffrey?
You would trade Christian McCaffrey to me?
Not this second. No.
You're going to trade him next year? You're going to use him?
No. Hold on. I'm just saying there's players out there like that. Like, no, I'm not going to trade Christian McCaffrey back unless you offer me all those picks.
More than what you gave me?
Yeah.
Yeah, not happening. I sold him low. You're not selling him high on me. Ain't happening, buddy.
So, I mean, well, you sold him low, but I gave you, I don't know. I feel like I gave you a lot.
I feel like it was more than low. It was like a middle, but, it worked out for both of us because I still got I got a good amount of picks, and you're getting a player that is playing like the number one player that we saw.
Yeah.
So it worked out for both of us. Although I would love to have him on my team, but, ship has sailed. If I'm looking at your team, what you need, you definitely need a second quarterback, especially because both your quarterbacks are being inconsistent right now. You need some consistency, but it's really tough right now. There's not much consistency outside the top 4 in quarterbacks this year. So it's almost like a shot in the dark. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I agree. I probably need a second QB, but I'm still a believer in Brady. Yeah,
you're not in a bad spot. I think Brady will get it together. I really do think he will.
I hope so. I hope down the stretch, right when the playoffs kind of start, Brady and his team they're gonna kind of start clicking.
Finally start clicking then?
Yeah. That's the hope. We'll see.
What about Magic Skull Bus? What do you think he needs?
The Magic Skull Bus.
He's got Murray, Prescott, Watson, and Mariota.
Well, I think at the beginning of the season, before it started, I said I believe this was the deepest team in the league, top to bottom.
Until the injury train came
yeah,
around.
The injury train has came, but he's been deep enough to where it hasn't really. He just put up almost 200 points, over 200 points last week to beat me. So it's still a good team. I think if he were to do anything,
he's still probably got the most complete team if everyone's healthy.
Yes, I agree. I don't think there's really a move he needs to make, to be honest.
It almost like at this point, like he needs to start looking at players that he can trade away so that he can get draft capital for next year.
I agree.
There's probably 1 or 2 players that he can ship out with confidence. It won't bite him in the butt. After the buys have passed and before the deadline, Wait, when's the deadline? When's the trade deadline? It's like next week or in 2 weeks.
11/24.
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah,
3
3
weeks.
weeks from now is the trade deadline, folks. For us, for the flog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a pretty set lineup. What
about
about CD's nuts?
yeah.
What do you think? I think he needs wide receiver, huh?
Definitely.
And he just traded away Amari Cooper.
He did. I don't. Yeah.
He's got
I
too
don't
much
know.
faith in Pittman and Lazard.
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
He needs a stud wide receiver.
Yeah.
If anything, if I'm CD's nuts, I'm going to Brownie Batter and I'm trying to get like AJ Brown.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Because Tyreek Hill, if I'm Brownie Batter, I'm not letting anybody touch Tyreek Hill. AJ Brown is a definite maybe because he did draft Ken Walker III, who is
possible keeper.
Almost
Probably a
possible
lock.
keeper.
Yeah.
He's got George Pickens and Garrett Wilson too. So he's got young players that are good that he could, use next year. And this is be a good time for him to build on the future and ship a player.
I agree. Yeah. Definitely needs wide receiver, Scotty. So I think that pretty much does it for this episode, bud.
Nobody, not one person.
Not one person. What?
Like is this live?
Yeah. Yeah. This is what I was, worried about was that we took like a 3-week break. I don't know.
Yeah, we did.
What the reasoning was because we were on a roll with like people coming in and.
Oh, I was working the last 2 Thursdays, and when I have work, I'm up super early and I don't get back till real late. Folks, we'll try to be on more. We don't want to be away. We like doing this. We want to answer your questions. We love talking fantasy football, and we love getting in other players' heads. So if you're watching this, tune in next time that we have something. Blunt, take us out.
All right, folks. You know what it is. This is the FLOGcast Network. Everybody, stay safe.